You are one of a number of younger pastors that have been influenced by Tim Keller.
Yeah.
Can you describe to our audience about what were your first impressions of Pastor Keller, and then over time when you served on his staff, how that changed and deepened in various ways?
Sure. I mean, yeah, so Tim Keller is a very well-known preacher and author, and the thing that he's probably most known for is what would be called apologetics, so making arguments for the Christian faith. One of his books, The Reason for God, was a New York Times bestseller, and so that is really what catapulted him. And so, of course, that was kind of drawn to that. I think there's a younger group of people that are very drawn to that type of thing.
That type of thing meaning what?
Just more of the intellectual arguments for the Christian faith.
So you actually encountered Reverend Keller through his books before you ever met him?
So I first met him, or came across him at a men's gathering actually here in the city years ago, way before I ever knew he was a thing. Actually, he blew my mind this one day, and I went home and I Googled him and realized, oh, he's kind of a thing. And so from that point on, just my wife and I started ingesting everything that we could, his
you
sermons
recall
and books.
What he blew your mind
yeah,
about?
No, he spoke on this was almost 10 years ago now, the jealousy of God. He spoke like this little 20-minute sermonette unpacking the jealousy of God, which seems like this weird, like, why would God be jealous? You know, most people are just confused by that idea. But his idea was, when you think about jealousy, for example, in terms of a husband and a wife, if a husband feels like his wife is drifting from him, there's this jealousy that might be there, and that's actually a good jealousy because it's the jealousy that causes him to pursue her. And that jealousy of God is really it's out of God's love for us, wanting to be, again, close to us. Anyway, the whole thing was just brilliant. And so blew my mind, Google him, start intaking everything that I could, discover that he's not just intellectual as in, arguments for the Christian faith, but also the way that he taught Scripture. Just this idea that all of Scripture is, ultimately about Jesus and pointing to Jesus. This was a very new kind of way of approaching Scripture that just, again, blew my mind. And, now, to the other part of your question, coming on staff with him, or coming on staff with Redeemer, having some time with him. I mean, I've had a lot of time at this point with him, but just getting to know him, he's an incredibly humble and gracious man, which, for quote-unquote celebrity pastors, I don't know if that's always the case, but he just really was this just very humble man, which has been really a beautiful thing to see kind of up close and personal, that he is this globally renowned preacher and author who has started one of the more important movements, global movements in the Christian world right now, and yet he's just this incredibly humble person.
I think Time Magazine named him one of their 50 most important people in the United States of the year, or something like that.
Yep.
But he doesn't act like he's one of the 50 most important people.
Not in the slightest.
And holds Bible studies with presidents and stuff like that.
Right.
In fact, he doesn't talk about that at all, really.
No, it's exactly right. And so it's those kinds of things that I think really endear you to a person ultimately, because it shows a depth of character that's important for a young pastor to be able to see and emulate. And so I've been grateful for that.